What's going on, Saints fans? We have second interviews scheduled for 3 candidates: Mike Kafka, Anthony Weaver, and just announced Aaron Glenn. All 3 of these candidates will be interviewing and having their second in-person interviews for the Black and Gold. So what is your one-word reaction to this news? We're about to get started, about to break down all the information you need to know, but Saints fans, get down in the comment section and share your thoughts. The head coaching search is heating up, Saints fans. In New Orleans, the Saints have now are going to bring in 3 guys for their second round of interviews as of the time of this filming. Monday, January 20th, about 12:30 in the afternoon. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trizzy Trace Girouard. No matter where you are or how you're watching, we always appreciate the Who Dat Nation for making us a part of their Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and every day in between. Now, Tom Pelissero, he announced very, very, very early, 5:45 in the morning. Anthony Weaver, he will be brought in for a second interview for the New Orleans Saints in the head coaching job. And I do think that this is an interesting option, like especially considering the fact that he does have some interviews in the past with Washington and Atlanta. Like, you know, he's a guy who's definitely an up-and-comer. And for his resume and in terms of what he's accomplished as a coach, I mean, he was a former player turned coach, which I'm a big fan of those kind of guys. Like, I think that that's a really popular and very successful trend that has been taking over the league recently. And, you know, he's been a very, very key component and a very key part to the Ravens' success when he was a coach with them. And then, of course, he's been a massive part for the Dolphins' success defensively. And in 2024, they were a very, very good unit. They were 12th in points per game. They were top 10 in yards per game. They were 5th in third down percentage for their opponents. Expected points average per play. They were 9th right there. They were 16th. They had 16 total takeaways. Not very good in sacks either, so I would want to see some more improvement there. However, the rushing yards per game and the rushing yards per attempt, those were those are pretty good, and the passing yards, very, very good. So I see these stats. I think that for the New Orleans Saints, they could benefit from a guy like Anthony Weaver. And John Harbaugh, his former boss, actually had some really good things to say last hiring cycle whenever the Dolphins brought him in as their defensive coordinator, saying maybe I'm speaking out of turn here. Maybe I'll get in trouble if there's a league rule against this. But he'll be a great coach. He didn't get hired this cycle, and great coaches got hired. But someday, some people are going to look back and say, man, we had a chance to hire Anthony Weaver. I guarantee you that. And I do think that the head coaching updates, and I think that the head coaching search is going to continue to ramp up. It's not going to slow down until a decision is made. More candidates are available for in-person interviews. Joe Brady, Kliff Kingsbury, 2 candidates for the New Orleans Saints. They are still alive in the playoffs. So maybe the Saints try and make a hire soon. Maybe they play the long game and want to target one of those guys. I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I can promise you one thing. We got you covered. So subscribe for updates. I'm going to make you one promise. Anytime there's anything notable, we'll make you a video. So do not miss a thing. A lot of updates, a lot of news and buzz is going to be coming out, especially considering we're in the second round of the interview process. So be sure to subscribe for free news. All right, so the Saints are also flying in Mike Kafka today for a second interview. This one coming in very early as well today at 5:38 in the morning. So the Saints very busy before 6 a.m., before the sunrise, so that's pretty cool. But Kafka, he has been a finalist for 3 jobs in the past 2 cycles, and now he's getting a longer look for the New Orleans Saints job. And, you know, like I'm a guy who, up to this point, has been very anti-Mike Kafka. In our most recent video about ranking the head coaching candidates from worst to first, he was my last ranked head coaching candidate. You know, like he is a guy who at one point in his career did have a lot of success with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he did have some very important roles at some very key times for Patrick Mahomes' career. But under the Giants, they've been bad, and he's been the offensive coordinator. But it is one thing to note. He wasn't the play caller. He was actually the play caller in 2022, but not in 2023 or 2024. That was Brian Dable. He took over the play calling duties. So should we warm up to the idea of Mike Kafka? Like, could this actually be a decent option? I mean, maybe. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that he is 100% the best option. I still believe the best options for the New Orleans Saints, in no particular order, Joe Brady, Kliff Kingsbury, or Aaron Glenn. I think those are the three best options. But I think Mike Kafka is a guy that maybe we shouldn't just like say, F it, I want nothing to do with it. Maybe we should change our opinions. Maybe we should change the tune and change the song that we're dancing to here. I mean, in Mahomes' rookie year, he was the offensive quality control coach. He also, in 2018, was the quarterback's coach when Patrick Mahomes won his first MVP. Oh, and by the way, in 2018, he was also the touchdown leader among all quarterbacks in the league. And then in 2020 to 2021, he was a quarterback's coach and passing game coordinator. So his role changed every year. They kept getting creative in how to incorporate Mike Kafka into the coaching style and into the coaching, process for the offense early in Patrick Mahomes' career. And, you guys can sit here and say you're going to disagree with this, but, early in the draft process and when Patrick Mahomes first got selected, it was thought that he was not a project, but a little bit of a developmental player. Like, he could be great, and he had the tools to be great. He just needed somebody to unlock those. And Mike Kafka was the keys to that car. And he managed to make Patrick Mahomes, and he was a big part of Patrick Mahomes' success early in his career. And did you know that in 2022, Mike Kafka was the play caller? And that's also the same year that the Giants have had their only playoff win since 2011 over the Minnesota Vikings. That's also when Daniel Jones was the quarterback. So he had a team with Daniel Jones at quarterback looking extremely good, winning a playoff game. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that we should just write that off. I did a little bit more research. I did a little bit more thinking about it. I'm kind of warming up to the idea of Mike Kafka. He's not my top option, but I'm not going to say let's write this one off immediately. So would you hire Mike Kafka? I still think I'm going to pass here, but did your opinion change? Hire or pass? Type it in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And really quick, I got to give a big time shout out to Game Time for sponsoring today's video. Game Time is my favorite ticketing app in the whole wide world. And Game Time has also been able to help me make so many memories already in 2025. And they have a brand new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to make it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater, and more. Rod Wave, he is performing in New Orleans today, actually. So if you want tickets to that, use promo code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But Game Time also has other great features such as all-in pricing, seat views, the lowest price guarantee, and Game Time ticket coverage. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. I'll tell you what, I did buy some tickets through Game Time to go see a Wetzel concert with Maddie, and I did admittedly have a little bit of user error, to be honest. Gotta give them the credit where it's due. It was user error, and I made some mistakes. And the Game Time customer service department was absolutely tremendous. They were so helpful. They were fast. They were efficient, and it just made the process so much better. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app. Use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase. You see it right here. It's in the comment section. It's in the description of this video. Terms do apply, but once again, download the Game Time app. Use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Alrighty, so starting today, good news, Saints fans. Aaron Glenn is now available for in-person interviews, and it has now been confirmed that Aaron Glenn will be doing an interview on Wednesday with the New Orleans Saints in person. And this is obviously because the Lions, they lost the Commanders. They are out in the divisional round. So Aaron Glenn, he's going to see the Jets tomorrow and the Saints on Wednesday. Does this mean that the Saints are the backup plan? I don't know. I don't think so necessarily. Some people might interpret it that way. Might have just been a little scheduling. But, just for the record, also with the weather and with the crazy cold storm that's taken over the southeast of the United States, there will be some issues and there might be some rescheduling of interviews. It's just because of weather. It has nothing to do with team and the situation is. But a very common thing I've seen on social media is, oh, because of how bad Aaron Glenn, his defense was in the divisional round against the Commanders, like, oh, I hate it. I don't want him. Like, I've seen a lot of people, change their opinions. And I've had a lot of people, not just on social media, not in the comments, but even in person here at the studio, ask me, has my opinion changed on Aaron Glenn? And I'm going to say not really. Like, maybe a little bit. Like, it would have been nice to see Aaron Glenn's defense be more successful in the playoffs. However, like, they were still a good unit over the course of the season. And they were still a team that battled through a lot of injuries and a lot of adversity and managed to make it as far as they did. Like, I understand the reservations, and I understand why people might not be as high on Aaron Glenn, and I'm not going to sit here and try and convince you to change your opinion. Like, if that's your thoughts, like, I totally get it, and that you're totally justified to think that. But I do think that Aaron Glenn will still be a good head coach. And I think when it comes down to Aaron Glenn, it goes much deeper than the coordinator role that he has for a team where he's taking interviews during the playoffs, not preparing, or maybe not preparing, but maybe he could have spent more time preparing for the game. Like, I do think that he is a guy who will build a culture, and I do think culture is a very important thing, and I think that the best teams with the New Orleans Saints had a very strong culture. In my opinion, Aaron Glenn will build a culture. He's a guy who is a leader of men. He's somebody who can come in, bring in a quality staff, and still make a positive impact, not just defensively, but as a leader of the football team. The defensive coordinator role, it is one that's kind of confusing, and it is one that's, like, for the head coach, it's tough to be like, absolutely, I want a defensive coordinator to be my head coach, especially after the Dennis Allen experience. However, like, don't get it twisted. Aaron Glenn's still going to be a good head coach. But I want to ask you this question. Has your opinion changed on Aaron Glenn? Especially after that, just going to call it straight up, bad performance. That was not a good execution. Very bad day for the Lions against the Commanders in the divisional round. But I want to know, has your opinion changed? And if it has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Just sound off in the comments. All righty, quick update around Kliff Kingsbury. This came in a few days ago, but, we were not – I was off that day, so I had to give you this update now. Kliff Kingsbury, he's decided to wait on any potential coaching interviews until the playoff run ends. Obviously, you see here, he wants to focus fully on the Lions and if they win the next round. So they obviously won. He wants to focus on the NFC Championship game. He wants to focus possibly on making it to the Super Bowl. And I will say this, Kliff Kingsbury didn't really do any interviews. He's pushing all that off. Aaron Glenn took an interview. One of these guys won. One of these guys didn't. Maybe one of them was more prepared for the game ahead. But Ian Rappaport adding some context here, I do agree with this. Like, Kliff Kingsbury is not guaranteed to take another job. Like, I think Kliff Kingsbury is in a very similar situation to what Ben Johnson was in last year, where he might be the Bella DeBall, at least one of them. And I do think that he is a guy that he's going to be highly coveted, but right now it might not be the time for him to go take a head coaching job. He might want to stick around and hang out with Jaden Daniels another season or two. And if you remember, he was supposed to go over to the Raiders, but then he was like, nah, I'm going to hang out. I like that. They have the possibility of getting Jaden Daniels. I'm going to stick around in Washington. I'll take that job. So for Kliff Kingsbury, there is no rush for him to take another job. He doesn't need to take one this offseason. He's in a really good situation. And if he continues to have another good year next year under Jaden Daniels, that's embarrassing. Under Jaden Daniels, if Kliff Kingsbury has another good year under Jaden Daniels and behind him, that's going to be a very, very good opportunity for him to cash in and make a lot of money. So thank you so much for watching today, Saints fans. Y'all stay golden. 40,000 subscribers. We're on the road to 41K. If you haven't already, be sure to like today's video. Get down in the comment section, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.